All right, I am recording. There we go. Okay, so National Trio Day started in, well, the TRIO programs were authorized by the Higher Education Act of 1965. And the first three programs to be authorized were Talent Search, Upward Bound, and Student Support Services. So here at Eastern Gateway, we call ourselves TRIO Scholars, but our technical name is Student Support Services. So you can see Mary Beth's background says TRIO SSS. You might hear us refer to ourselves as that as well. And you might have been here for kind of a switch from SSS to Scholars, but we like to refer to you guys as Scholars because you are all so high achieving. You have so much grit and determination, then that is everything that a scholar has. So that's why we wanted to kind of rename ourselves the Scholars. Anyway, in 1986, February 28th was authorized as TRIO Day federally. It was recognized basically just to bring a spotlight to support programs in higher education that provide better access to higher education for underrepresented student populations. So that's really all TRIO Day is. What EGCC is doing every week here at EGCC, we actually have 3 different TRIO programs. So we have an Upward Bound program at our Steubenville campus. We have an Educational Opportunities Center, which is located in Youngstown. And then our program serves both Youngstown, Steubenville, and online. And most of you are from our online. So we are everywhere, and we are the only program that is actually allowed to be all over the United States. So that is kind of an advantage you have being in this program. EGCC is doing social media posts for each of our programs. So if you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, the Eastern Gateway Community College, you will see pictures of the EOC program, the Upward Bound program, and ours is getting posted tomorrow because I wanted to get a group picture. So follow EGCC on social media and also follow us on social media. Our handle is at EGCC Trio Scholars. Mary Beth does a really great job running all of our social media and really showcasing all of our students. If you have something really cool going on in your life, let us know so we can post about it. One of our students recently was actually working at the Super Bowl. So we posted about her and we just, like to basically put the spotlight on all of our students. And now that we're getting closer to graduation, if you are graduating this semester or this summer, Mary Beth is going to start putting together graduation spotlights. So that's my spiel on TRIO. I should probably introduce myself at this point. My name is Brittany Crozio. I am the director of the program. I have been involved with our program for almost 4 years now. I did start out as an academic counselor, and now I'm in the director role. And I have 2 very special people on my staff. The first one is Mary Beth Jones. She is our project manager, basically does everything. Both of these women do everything for us. But Mary Beth, she does all of our logistics. So she enters all of our new students, and she also advises the majority of our students right now because we are down 2 advisors. And then we also have Dr. Carissa Henry on our staff, who her formal title is our licensed professional counselor, but she is also, I have a left and right hand man, woman, I should say. And these 2 are them. And I would not be able, our program would not be successful without these 2 women. So thank you. Do you guys want to, you know that I love putting you on the spot. So do you guys want to say anything?
I'll go.
Okay.
I beat you, Mary Beth. I'm happy to see all you guys. I've probably talked to all of you at least once over the phone at some point, and I'm really happy to see some of my current students. You do not have to identify yourself as one of my students. Maybe some future students who I'll work with and some of my past students on here. I'm just really happy that you could join us and take advantage of this. And again, it's so refreshing seeing your face or even your name up on the screen. And hopefully it's helpful for you guys to see me too. I love this part of it. So you can kind of get to know who I am. But I love working with you all in every way that I do, whether it's counseling or talking about test anxiety or public speaking anxiety, or whether it's just the few that I've done the quick, fast needs assessments with. Thank you all who've answered your phone and taken the 10 minutes to talk to me. So thank you guys. I look forward to working with you all more.
I let Carissa go first because I knew she would volunteer. I had faith in that. I'm Mary Beth. I've talked to most of you. I emailed everybody and probably texted you as well because, like Brittany says, I do all the logistics and documentation. So if you have any changes in your information or anything like that, address, phone number, anything, please let us know. Even if you update it in your student portal, it doesn't get back to us, because our database is a separate one. It's private. The things we put in there are just for our program. The government parameters with FERPA and all, it keeps it private. So for us to be able to contact you, we won't know we have the wrong number until we can't get a hold of you or things start bouncing back. I'm really glad to get to see some of you guys. You know, some people I don't get to see very often. Other people are brand new and I'm just getting to meet. So I'm looking forward to getting to work with you guys. And, you know, we do have some fun sometimes along with the school stuff. So we're looking forward to getting rolling with the semester now that it's up and running, and getting to do some of the fun activities too, because Brittany's going to be telling you about some stuff with regard to that too.
Yes, definitely. All right. Thank you guys. And Mary Beth, actually, I have one of my bullet points here is that I will be sending out our yearly emails to update any contact information. So you are going to get an email to your EGCC email account, and it'll say what we currently have on file, and you're just going to let me know if anything needs to be changed. So you should be getting that probably within the next couple weeks. Okay, so before we go ahead and get started, I'm going to take this group picture. So whoever wants to turn on their camera for a couple seconds, I would appreciate it. Oh yes, more faces. Hello, everybody. All right. Okay, there's Kelly. Oh, how cute, Kelly. I love that. Yes. All right. So we are going to go ahead and get this. Let me get new. Hang on. How do I do this? All right, here we go. Hang on. What's going on with my thing here? New. All right. All right. Is everyone ready? Okay, let's do it. Wait, it keeps freezing. I'm sorry. I promise that I'm competent. I promise. All right, let's go. Okay, we got it, everybody. All right, let me save it really quick as Student Development Day Picture 2022. Woohoo! Yay. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all. And it's nice to see some more faces, but you can go ahead and hide away again if you really want to. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so today we do have a speaker who will be joining us at about 12:30. So I don't even know if I'm going to take until 12:30, but we will see. If not, I'm going to give you a little bit of a break, and I'll have you guys come back around 12:25. But you know, I'm a talker, so I will probably make it to there. Today, we are introducing 2 new learning platforms for the TRIO Scholars Program. So our grant is federally obligated to do these certain things for you, and some of them are workshops, and another one is a financial literacy tool. So Michael Pittman will be joining us at 12:30. He is the CEO and founder of the Simple Money Academy. He is going to be doing a workshop for us, but we also are collaborating with him on a financial literacy platform. So it's going to be like little workshops, but he is so engaging and fun, and I cannot wait for you guys to meet him, because I know that you will know his workshops are the same. And he's actually taking a day out of his time to train Carissa, Mary Beth, and I on how to put on his workshops too. So they will also be available live, or you can do them on your own. So the other area that we are going to focus on is academic workshops. So you have seen us do academic workshops. We have been trial and error for a couple years now, and I think we really found a great program for all of you to take advantage of, and it is called Student Lingo. So I'm going to post the link in the chat here, and I want you all, if it's possible, for you to go .com/EGCC Trio Scholars to go to this link. And I actually haven't even shown Mary Beth or Carissa this yet. So everybody can go to that link, and you are going to see, I'm also going to share my screen for those who can't see. I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like. Can everybody see my screen? It should say Trio Scholars up in the corner. Okay, perfect. So you guys are going to come to this screen, and I'm going to have everybody that is a Trio Scholars member start one of these accounts. So you just put your first name, your last name, your college email address. So that would be your @student.egcc.edu email address. Please make sure it's that email address. Don't make it.
Hey, Brittany, the link didn't pop up.
It didn't?
No, Tommy said he didn't get it either.
Okie dokie. Did I not hit send? That would be a Brittany thing to do. Did I post the link? Oh, it's because I put it to the waiting room participants. Oh, yes. There we go. How about that? Got it? All right. Am I still sharing my screen now? Okay, just want to make sure. All right, so what you will do is you'll come to this screen, and once you already create an account, then you'll click the sign in here or the sign in here. But for right now, please use your college email address, so your @student.egcc.edu email address, and agree to the terms and register. So if you're on a computer, take a couple seconds to do that, so that way you can go ahead and get started. I am going to log in since I already have an account. And then I will show you, just take a couple seconds if you can. Let me know if you get in there. Someone just posts in the chat that they got in there. Tommy's in. All right, we got people in. So I'm going to go ahead and explain through what this system is. So Student Lingo allows me to select different workshops each semester for you guys to attend, take. They're all self-paced and everything like that. So the ones that I picked are the ones that don't have featured on them. So these are the ones that, Carissa's doing these needs assessments with you guys. What we take from those needs assessments is all the data and really try and figure out what help our students need from the beginning. So, we have students that come to me and they're like, hey, one of my instructors said I plagiarized. I don't even know where to even begin with that. So we have an academic integrity one. We have a lot of students who say they need help in English, in math, effective communication online. I think we all could use this workshop. As well as online courses, staying motivated and disciplined. What a great time in the semester to do that one, because I know this is the time where we start to, die off a little bit. Believe me, I'm one of them. Today's the last day of my first class, and I am just done. And I've got one more class this semester, so I need to take this one as well. Reading comprehension strategies, time management strategies, effective resumes and cover letters. And all of these ones that say on demand are ones that were actually put on by Student Lingo for free. So you can go ahead and do those if you want. So let's say we want to go ahead and do this academic integrities one. I'm just going to click on it and show you. So it has different instructions. You click on the instructions and there's videos, but it's the same for every. It's going to have the same instructions for every workshop, but it tells you a little bit about your presenter, what you're going to learn, and if you need to have a transcript of the workshop. So you jump in by hitting next. and it's going to
Hello.
take you.
My name is Dr. Teddy.
I'm not going to make you listen to it, but then you sit through the workshop, you do different scenarios, you get through the conclusion. Here's the most awesome part, is this evaluation and certificate. So you have to complete an evaluation for each workshop. And after you complete the evaluation, you're actually going to get a certificate. It's an e-certificate, but these are things that you are going to be able to actually put on your resume that you did, because this is actually considered student development in college. So, you know, under your education on your resume, you can put attended student development workshops in these different areas. So you go through this evaluation. Once you complete the evaluation, you hit complete survey, and then it's going to take you to a screen where you can save your certificate. I really love this about it, because you get something from completing this, and you can save it, and you can be proud of yourself that you completed these workshops. And then another thing that I really love about these workshops is the action plan and resources. So what you can do if you feel like, you know what, I'm still not 100% about academic integrity, you can download this action plan, and it's going to take you to a PDF. It's going to actually take you through, you know, like find the policy for your institution. Do you understand it? If not, where will you go for clarification? This is like, if you want to get the most out of every workshop, you would complete the action plans. And there might be some that actually, you know, for example, if you're working with Carissa on career development, she might even ask you to do the career development workshop and to complete the action plan and take it to her.
And can I jump in, Brittany? Yeah. This is something I heard you guys, and I brought this to Brittany, and she actually said, oh, it fits with our student lingo thing. A lot of times when we do career development, career counseling, I say that for that selected field, they might not necessarily care too much about a specific degree, but they want to see that you have some type of skills, some type of essential skills or soft skills. And a lot of you have asked really smart questions like, well, if I get those soft skills and essential skills, how do I prove that I have them? By doing these type of things, these workshops, and having these actual certificates that you can put with your resume. So this is almost as like, thank you guys, like Brittany said in the beginning, for telling us what you want, what you need. Thank you for actively working with us and collaborating. And now we can offer you these awesome certificates to add to your resume too. And then I know career counseling often, and we'll have a couple 3-4 sessions of career counseling for those I work with. And then sometimes we might transition into something else if you want to stay work on other stuff. And this is a good way if you want to stay on and transition and just want to really work on yourself with these action plans too.
Exactly. So it really just puts value to what you are saying that you have. And then another awesome part of all of these workshops is if you still feel like you aren't getting enough, there are more resources. So here's what actually happens when you get caught cheating. What is integrity? What are the 5 pillars of academic integrity? A plagiarism checker, a Grammarly, download. These are all really, really fantastic resources. So I want to see all of you taking really, strong advantage of this program. I can see your usage, so just want to let you know. No, but honestly, this is all for you. I want you guys, like I said, to get the most out of it. And then there is also one really awesome thing about Student Lingo. So you'll see here that they have these live workshops as well, where you can attend with people at institutions all across the United States. And for example, there's one coming up that is on March 25th from 1 to 1:30 Eastern. And like I said, it's completely live. So that's really fun. But here's a really cool one. Each semester, Student Lingo, which I think we missed the first one, or it just hasn't come up yet, I'm not sure. Each semester, Student Lingo has 2 workshops that they put on where you have the opportunity to earn a $500 scholarship just for completing the workshop and the, like the follow-up that goes along with it. So for this one, for example, it wants you to do the workshop And then the scholarship opportunity is here. You can view the full context rules. For this one, it's to make a TikTok, but they're not always, make a TikTok. Sometimes it's just make a post or, send in something. But this one's actually fairly simple. So it's a really easy way to get, to potentially earn $500, which would be really great for anybody, I think. So,
And Brittany, you told us before that it's not like there's 500 people attending these workshops, that it's a pretty easy $500 to earn, that maybe like, I don't want to misspeak, but maybe there might be like 40 to 100 people attending these. So that's your shot at $500.
Yep. Yeah. So sometimes you guys will see scholarships that are like no essay scholarships, like $2,000 no essay scholarships. You can pretty much assume that there's anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 students applying for those every single month. Your shots at getting them are so minuscule. Whereas here, I think that they work with, I don't know how many schools they work with, but it's like a manageable number. And then to take whatever percentage you think are actually watching all of the workshops, and then that percentage of who is completing the scholarship opportunity, it's fairly low. So I definitely just recommend, even if you just make a TikTok account just to post these or post this one, you can always let us know and we'll like it, because I think it's about how many likes you get. But anyway, if you start workshops and you get like halfway through, you'll see the view your progress here. So you can see like I've clicked on all of these and you can continue through them. Each month I get a report on the ones that you completed. So as you guys, some of you I know are so new that you might not have even completed our orientation yet and completed our student contract. But one of the things in the student contract is actually that you must attend at least 2 workshops per semester. So I've been pretty relaxed on this for the last couple years, but we are going to start actually putting a deadline on those. So the first, you guys can mark your calendars, the first deadline to complete at least 1 workshop within Student Lingo, and I'm going to post all of this on the Canvas page, so that way you have all this information, is going to be April 1st, 2021, and that's, or no, 2022, we can't go back in time, but it is going to be April 1st, 2022, not an April Fool's Day joke, just that's the date that I'm picking because it's a Friday this year. So that's going to be the first one for the semester, will be due that day. You don't have to send anything into me. You just have to complete it, because I can see on my side of things what you've completed. Does anybody have any questions about Student Lingo? I do want to say that these 8 that I selected are only for the spring semester and probably the summer semester, just because we're into the spring semester already. But come fall semester, if you're still here with us, there will be 8 new ones. So you're not going to see the same ones for the full year. And also 1 is only the minimum. If you want to complete all 8, please do. So does anybody have any questions? Oh, I have someone that's popping in here. All right. Well, like I said, with every one of them come an action plan, come resources. You just have to hit, the next and go through it.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, that was loud. They all have the resources, 7 tips to writing an A+ discussion post. I know we all need that sometimes. And then the different action plans. So critical thinking skills. I'm probably going to do most of these. All right, so that is Student Lingo. I am so excited about this. It's been in the making for months now for us to be able to get this to you guys. Okay, the next part of Trio Day that I really want to talk about, I'm going to end my share screen for a minute. So okay, perfect. So in the past, before we had such a, oh, Tommy, can you take the course more than once if you do not score well? I don't think that you're actually scored on anything. I think that the evaluation is just like a qualitative evaluation. Did you like it? Do you think you got anything from it? But as long as you complete it, you will get the certificate.
And Tommy, I believe that, I'm sure Mary Beth, Brittany, and I will have 1 or 2 or several of these done for any students to ask us questions too. You know, we might say, oh, take this one instead of this one if you only have time for one. And, you know, as we go, we'll be able to give you a more heads up.
Absolutely. So it was only as of about 2 years ago that we were actually allowed to accept students online to our program. So our programs actually used to just be 100% campus-based. And for Trio Day, we always did a community service project. Of course, you know, we're going on almost 2 years now of being pretty much totally remote. I think maybe the total of all three of us have spent maybe 30 days in the office for the last 2 years. And you know, we are so happy to have you guys here now, but I know that one of the things that I've really struggled with is trying to figure out how to get community service back into our program. So I was actually just really contemplating last night. This is kind of one of the things that I thought about, because everything that's going on in the news with Ukraine, with Russia, you know, I'm heartbroken. And I was actually surprised to find out that the United States is in a national blood crisis. I know that not all people can give blood, not all people want to give blood. So my suggestion for a community service project for everybody is to donate blood. And send us a picture of you donating blood or with your little sticker afterwards, just to support this blood crisis. And of course, it doesn't have anything to do with the Ukraine, but I just think of everything that is, you know, happening overseas. And I've seen the lines of people trying to donate blood over there. So it's really one of the things that I thought would be really important. If you can't donate blood, it's not the end of the world. I just would love to put together something, you know, that shows that, you know, even though we are all across the United States, look at what we can do as a team. So if you can't donate blood, I encourage you to look up maybe a place where you could volunteer with the Red Cross or any other volunteer organization that you are passionate about, whether it's in your community or it's national. I just really encourage you this spring, since things are starting to lighten up, at least here, you know, get out there and serve in whatever that means for you. If you have a food pantry or a local homeless shelter, that you would like to volunteer at, just send us a picture of you doing it so we can highlight you and just show everybody all of the good that our students do, even though you yourselves are considered underrepresented students. So you guys go through so much every single day, and we just want everyone to know how hard you work and everything that you do behind the scenes as well. So I want to show you guys, if you are interested in giving blood, you can really just Google, let me put it up here. You can just Google the Red Cross donation sites or anything, and this will probably pop up. This is at least the page you would like to pop up. There's the National Blood Crisis, and you just put in your 4-5, I don't even know Youngstown's zip code, 44502, I think it is. Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't live in Youngstown, so I don't know this. Okay, yeah, this is right. So, you know, I'm right about here right this second, but over here on the side, wherever you are close to, it will have a list of upcoming blood drives. So just find one, and you can actually see that there are 4 appointments remaining. If you just want to give blood, I do not know what Power Red is. So if anybody knows what that means, there's somebody in the waiting room, but I don't know who that is. So since their name's not up there, I'm not going to add them. Donate in March to receive a $10 Fanatics e-gift card. So some places have little incentives as well. So I just encourage you to do something really good for your community, whether that's give blood or just volunteer in any other way. I know that I'm going to be giving blood. I saw one that's actually in my hometown next week. And so I am going to go ahead and do that. Let's see. All right. So I've got a couple people still joining on here. Okay, Katie, Power Red is like plasma. Tommy, Power Red allows you to safely donate 2 units of red blood cells. Perfect. Is there a possibility to volunteer with Red Cross in New York, and how can I register? So I would just encourage you, maybe if we can find a drive here. Oh, well, there's my zip code. You guys can have my zip code. Let's see. I'm not sure how to find out how to volunteer. I would just find your local Red Cross. You can look up your local Red Cross organization and contact them specifically about I'm really looking to volunteer, and do it that way. All right, I've got some more.
Hey, Brittany, they can also, like I said, when it says there's a blood drive, and it gives a location, you might be able to just show up that day and say, hey, how would I go about helping you in the future? Can I help today? Whatever. You can also, if they have, most of them do, some sort of social media burst about the event, promote it, put it on your social media, encourage your friends and family to go do it. Like say, hey, I'm going to go give blood. Who wants to join me? Make a party out of it, go to lunch afterwards or something like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Go get ice cream. Isn't that something?
Yeah, cookies.
Give yourself sugar or something afterwards.
Or Brittany's favorite Starbucks.
Oh yeah. Listen, today I've got the Youngstown Mocha House. So Tommy's putting some really great information in there as well. Meals on Wheels, the local United Way chapters. I volunteer with our local United Way chapter. Does volunteering with a military unit to talk about whatever you want to do, whatever makes you feel like you are involving yourself in your community, to me is volunteering. So whenever you're going out of your way to do something better for somebody else, you are volunteering. So absolutely that counts. Just send us a selfie, please. Or have someone take a picture of you. So that way, we can put together a little trio scholars uniting to serve their communities. Taco bar for the military members. Do you live on a military base? I wonder. That's really cool. Very awesome.
Her husband is active duty, so we want to salute him he's deployed right now.
Oh, my dad's deploying this summer, so I might be reaching out to you, Dallas. Okay, so there is a number in here for the Red Cross, 1-800-RED Cross, Meals on Wheels. And then Carissa says, for any Steubenville local students, Jefferson County Animal Shelter is always looking for volunteers. Carissa just adopted 3 kittens from the Jefferson County Animal Shelter. Hey, Carissa, what names did you end up coming up with? Because I was really pulling for Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Well, the shelter had named them, guys. This is your Saturday laugh. Tequila, sangria, well, tequila sunrise, sangria, and fireball. But when you have a 5-year-old running around the house shouting tequila, it's time to change the names. We had many conversations for names, and my husband had a dream, and he woke up and he said, guys, I had a dream. He said, I dreamed we named them OJ, like orange juice, Julius, like Orange Julius, and for all the 90 kids, Tang. So
Very
yes,
good.
OJ, Julius, and Tang, because they're 3 orange guys. So that's the watered down version.
Very, very cute. I love it. Okay, so I just have yes, those are great names. I was also pulling for Flora, Fauna, and Merriweather, but that's the Disney freak in me. And if anybody gets that, bonus points to you. Okay, so Mary Beth, would you say you're muted?
She turned down mine. I wanted Ginger and Snap for 2 of them.
Cute. Very cute. Yeah, we all had a lot of good ideas, but you got some good ones. So I do want to give you guys a few reminders just for this semester, and that will probably take us to about 12:20, and then I'm going to give you guys about a 10-minute break before our awesome presenter, and I want you guys to please be right here at 12:30 because you're really going to like him. I know it sounds like, oh my God, he's going to talk at me about money for an hour. He is so engaging. I promise you, you don't want to miss it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So reminders about this spring semester. Biggest one for TRIO scholars, complete your 2022-2023 FAFSA. Everything is out and available. So you want to get on and do that as soon as possible. I am going to be doing, funny enough, a workshop on completing the FAFSA. It's actually a workshop that I did probably about 3 years ago, but I'm just going to repost it because all of the information is still very relevant. I might even do it live. But you guys want to do that as soon as possible. So that way, if you get selected for verification through the institution or anything like that, you have plenty of ample time to get all of this done. So do that. And since you've already done it once, it's easier than, if this is your first year in college, it's easier each year after you've already done it once. So you already know what you're looking for. And that's why we're here. So if you get stumped, call one of us, email one of us. We've all done it 1.5 million times. You know, please let us know. We'll help you through it. Spring break is March 7th through March 13th. So you guys won't have any coursework due, or you at least should not have any coursework due that week. Take it off, relax. It is the week between the first 8 and the third 8 weeks. So you get a little bit of a break, but if you're only in full-term classes, then it's kind of just like a mid-semester break. And if you're doing anything fun for spring break, make sure you send it to us so we know and we can post about you, because we're all jealous of all of you that live in warmer climates. Okay, so like I said, the first 8 weeks ends on March 6th. The third 8 week starts on March 14th. The full term and the third 8 weeks ends on May 8th. So you're seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, guys. It's only really 2 full months away. Wait, yeah, all of March, all of April. So you're almost done with the spring semester already, guys. You're halfway there. And then the big day, if anybody is graduating this semester or graduating in, if anybody is graduating in the summer and plans on walking here in Youngstown, Ohio, the date for graduation is June 4th. So graduation is going to be here in Youngstown. They are doing what's called Grad Fest this year. So anybody who wants to come to the campus, you can. They're going to have pictures, they're going to have refreshments, you're going to be able to meet us face to face, all of that fun stuff. And yeah, so we will, graduation, it's soon. I can't believe it. All right, so we have about 15 minutes. I got through that a lot quicker. Does anybody have any questions for me about anything we went over today? If you jumped in here late, this was all recorded. So you will have the opportunity to rewatch this. I probably won't get to post it until Monday, but you will have the opportunity. So any questions? Are the dates for summer registration open yet? Kelly, this is a controversial topic. No, technically they are not. For some reason, I can see them on my end, but Mary Beth, give me the date. March 9th? March 9th. Okay, yes. Summer registration is to open on March 9th.
Yeah, I can see certain classes, but not everything's loaded, I guess.
Yes, right. I got in trouble for registering somebody the other day and I got my wrist slapped, so sorry. All right, then let's take about a 15-minute break, grab something to eat if you need to, take a potty break, and we will meet back here. I will turn the video back on at about 12:25. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep it recording, so just make sure you turn your cameras off and all that fun stuff. we will see you guys in a little bit.
I expected Brittany by now, and then I looked, and then I realized, oh, it's because Brittany sent me her link, and I didn't send her, not vice versa. So I
I'm
appreciate
sorry.
that you
We're
guys are.
already all on this one, so I was like, I'll just send you our link.
No, that's what makes logical sense. So I'm really glad that you did that. I'm actually gonna come in as well on a second computer, so don't think it's like a weird spam. But I just have two. Like I have one right here, and I have the one that I'm on now because we live in a virtual age, man. And sometimes like internets want to act up and like things get a little wacky, you know. So it's so I just wanted to let you know that ahead of time. But I'm excited to be with you guys hanging out today, talking about money.
Yes, I know. I warned everybody that they are gonna like you. Or wait, okay. No, that one wasn't you. I was like, I know it's gonna sound crazy that I'm having a guy talk to us for an hour and a half about money, but I promise you he is engaging and he is fun.
Oh, totally. We're gonna have a really, really good time. I mean, it was I literally this workshop that I'm doing, I actually did the one second. I did the same exact workshop about an hour and a half ago at what was that, about 10 o'clock or so, and 100% of the people who were on the workshop gave it a 10 out of 10, and that's not uncommon. I mean, I'm working with about 30 colleges and universities across the country, so we have a good time out here. But what really makes the workshops engaging is like participation and engagement, and so we'll all work together. You know, it'll be a lot of fun.
All right, Michael, do you need anything from me?
No. So I saw that on the title it said Trio Day. So I'm just confirming. Am I talking to students, staff,
Yep.
students and staff?
So Carissa and Mary Beth are on my staff, but everyone else is our students.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Fantastic. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, cool. So here's what we're gonna do. Are we ready to rock and roll? Shake and bake? Beautiful. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. This is my first time speaking with you guys today. How is everyone doing? My name is Michael. I'm super excited to be talking to you guys today about money mindset. We're gonna have a really good conversation with one another. That's my goal today. It's just for us to have like a very honest, introspective conversation on like how our mindset affects our behaviors around money. But before we do that, I always like to be really selfish and feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And so here's what I would love. I would love for you guys, for those of you guys who can, let me see your faces. Let me see your, take your camera, put your cameras on and all that stuff. And then on the count of three, I want everybody to come off of mute and make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside and just give me a nice, warm, good afternoon. That's all I want. I just want everybody to come off and just tell me good afternoon as loud as is appropriate based off of the environment that you're in. If you're in the library, a whisper is appropriate. But like on the count of three, I want everybody to come off of mute and tell me good afternoon. 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, friends and family. Now, here's the thing. I'm curious to know, what do you guys feel like makes for a great workshop? I'm gonna take some notes. What do you guys feel like makes for a great workshop? Somebody come off of mute.
Interaction.
Tommy said interaction. Tommy, guess what? I have a surprise for you. You were the first person to talk. And so I'm going to give you money at the end of this workshop. Seriously. And so make sure at the end of the workshop, you guys on the feedback form, you'll see where you can put your Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. And so Tommy is the first person to make some money today. Anybody else? Don't worry, there'll be other opportunities later, guys. Anybody else? What makes for a great workshop?
Relevant information.
Relevant information. Who said that?
Kelly.
Kelly. Well done,
I
Kelly.
unmuted with Tommy, but he got in first.
By golly gee willikers. It's okay. What else?
An energetic speaker.
An energetic speaker. I think that we'll be able to get that one taken care of. Was that you, Dallas?
Yes.
Very good. Anybody else? I see Brown CM trying to say something, but you're on mute.
Just effort.
Effort, effort. Just like, are you trying,
Yeah,
bro?
just
Hashtag, are you trying?
yeah.
Do you understand the assignment? Okay, Carissa, what about
I
you?
would like to learn something new.
Learn something new. Learn something new. Beautiful. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Okay, well, let's play devil's advocate a little bit. What would make for a bad presentation? What would make a presentation suck?
Not answering our,
Not answering questions? Is that what you said?
yeah.
Perfect. Yep, not answering questions. What else? Someone in this chat, shout out to the chat being used. What up, Katie? A monotonous speaker. Well done. A fourth multisyllabic word, multisyllabic word there, monotonous. Reading off bullet points. Thank you, Aminato. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Abdulai. Did I do that? Are you Yoruba? Are you Yoruba?
No, from Yemen, next to Yoruba country.
Oh, so you're next to a Yoruba country. I was like, because I got some friends from Nigeria. Like one of my friends, his name is Oludotu Nekinji de Okulate, you know, and I'm just like, oh yeah, when I see some Olus in there, I'm like, we you somewhere in there. Okay, very good. Very, very good. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Cool. Well, guess what, guys? I have some great news. It turns out that the presentation that you guys are going to see today has all of the good things and none of the bad stuff. So we're going to have a great time. It's going to be fun. And we're going to talk today about money mindset. Now, a couple of things that I think that are important to know here. First and foremost is that when it comes to money mindset, I want to show you guys a little bit about my story and why I start off. So I always like an opportunity to show you guys, you know, I'm a husband, I have my kids, they're downstairs. So if you hear some yelling and screaming, nobody's dying, I hope, you know, and I teach people about money and personal finance. And I am also a TRIO alum. Hey, hashtag TRIO works, hashtag, you know, TRIO family. I was part of the talent search program. And so I just am so happy to be back with my TRIO family because I think that it's a really cool opportunity to be able to give back in that way. And so you guys know that if I was a TRIO alum, that there were some things that I was not privy to growing up. You know, I'm talking about money and personal finance now, but the reality is that I did not start off here. In fact, I started off right here in Grambling, Louisiana, which, if it sounds like it's in the middle of nowhere, North Louisiana, spoiler alert, it is. And eventually things got a little bit better for us, but y'all, we were really middle class at best. Like at best, right? Like here's how middle class we were. See, some kids grow up on General Mills cereal. But has there ever been any of you guys who have grown up on Malto Meal cereal? Anybody ever had bag cereal before? You get twice the amount of cereal for half the price, guaranteed great taste, big old bag, you know? Like that's what we grew up on because we were middle class, you know? Some kids grew up on like these honest, organic kids drinks. Look at these flavors. Happily Ever After, Goodness Grapeness, Super Fruit Punch. Listen, we didn't have any of that. We grew up on these things called Hugs Fruit Barrel. Anybody ever had a Hugs Fruit Barrel before? I mean, I'll tell you what, those things were unbelievable. I mean, you talk about Kool-Aid in a jug, never tasting so good. You could put them in the freezer, make your little freeze pop deal. You got that thing going on. And I mean, by the way, there was no fruit in the Hugs Fruit Barrels, right? Like we all know that. Like, can we just come to a consensus, right? Because I mean, you know, when you look at the ingredients, it sounded like it was like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady playing quarterback. It was like high fructose corn syrup and then like Blue 82, Red 15, Hut. Like, I mean, it was just like that. But you know, that's what I grew up on. Because I actually went to Whole Foods once and I was like, man, let me find the blue raspberries. Turns out the person upstairs don't make them in that color, you know? I mean, like, it's just, I mean, but that's okay because like, that's what we grew up on, Hugs Fruit Barrels, because we're middle class. Some kids, you know, they grow up, and I'll share a little bit more about this later. Like, I remember whenever I would go out to a restaurant, like I would want to read a menu from left to right. But now my parents like, nah, in our household, we read it from right to left. Like you got to look at the prices on the right side first, and then you got to decide what you get on the left side after that. So, you know, it don't matter if you wanted salmon, you know, it's going to be a chicken tender and French fry type of day. And that's how I grew up because I was middle class. And so eventually, guys, what happened was at the age of 21 years old, I was getting my degree, and I actually became a licensed mutual fund broker for an investment firm. And so I actually teach people a lot about how to invest money. And in 2014, I actually entered the financial services industry. And, you know, I've been teaching people about that stuff ever since, about money, investing, and the whole bit. And so now I do that through Simple Money Academy. Now you guys got a little bit of insight on me, but now that's enough about me. I want to talk to you guys about you and your rich life. You guys are the stars of today's show. And when we talk about like a quote unquote rich life, when most people see a rich life or think about rich life, it's something they think of it as purely financial, but it's way more than that. And in fact, simply put, when you're living your rich life, you're actually living a life in a way to where like the decisions you make align with your actual desires, not the desires that other people have of you, no matter how big or small they may seem. And so here's what I want you guys to do. The first exercise we're going to do is we're going to write down some things that you want for your rich life. Like I'm a big fan of football. And like when you play football, everybody knows what a touchdown line is. Like it's a standard that everybody knows exists. And so what I want you guys to think about is like, hey, what is the standard that you want financially for your rich life? And it could be anything. So like for me, like one example is I want to go out to dinner and start reading the menu from left to right. Like if I'm going out to eat, I'm getting appetizer, entree, dessert, and maybe a drink, you know? And so like that's what I want, you know, or weekly dates with my wife, you know, or even putting my kids in swim lessons. You know, I kind of grew up in the hood. And so swim lessons were like they throw you in and you know, like sink or swim. But I wanted my kids to and these may sound like trivial things to some, but that's what was important to me. And so I'm curious to know, I want you guys to take a moment. We're going to take about 60 seconds. I want you guys to write down some of the things that you want for your rich life. And then we're going to popcorn around. We're going to see, you know, what are some of the things that you guys want and ultimately how your money mindset will help you get there. So let's take 30 to 60 seconds to do that. And we'll be right back. And if you'd be willing to share, can you put the number 5 in the chat if you'd be willing to share? Excelente. Let's start off with the first few folks. So let's do Kelly first, because Kelly was the first person quick on the trigger. Kelly, talk to me about something that would create a rich life for you.
Well, first of all, getting a good paying job once I graduate, hopefully in December. And then I want to pay off my house.
Nice.
And from there, put my kids in college and have enough money for my husband and I to buy a retirement property.
Nice. So let me ask you this. Let's dig a little deeper, if you would. When you think about something like paying off your house, what will that like? Why would that make such a big difference for you? Like what type of abundance would that bring to your life personally?
Well, we've only been in our home 10 years. We moved to this township when my kids were just about ready to start elementary school. And it was bought as a investment property so that when we sell it, we'll have money to put towards their college and have enough left, hopefully, for us to build or buy a small place for ourselves.
Beautiful.
So that would be the ticket.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for
Welcome.
sharing. The next person that will call on is you, Tommy. Tommy, what do you think?
So first, I put not having to check the budget before making major purchases.
Yes.
I do want an in-ground swimming pool,
Uh-huh.
and I want to add a second story to my house.
I love it. Let's talk about the in-ground swimming pool. Like, how will that like create more abundance for you in your life? Because honestly, when people talk about this stuff, they're always talking about, like some of the more financial things, but I like some of the fun stuff, like in-ground swimming pool. Tell me a little bit about that.
Mainly because we do live right across from the lake, but a lot of times it's a pain, to have to load up everybody or load up and even walk across the street. So it'd be nice to be able to just go in the backyard, sit in the pool, relax. It's mainly just to relieve stress.
I love it. I love it. Stress-free living while building relationships, right? Because,
Yes.
at the end of the day, if you, only have the swimming pool to have for yourself, like that there's some level of an enjoyment that you could have with that. But based off of what you were saying, when it comes to loading everybody up, sounds like there's a relational element there as well. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's something that I want you guys to think about as well, right? So like when you think about like your money, it's not just purely financial, right? It's like, hey, what are some of the relational elements that are going to make this worthwhile? Let's do one more person. The third person was Brittany. Brittany, what about you?
You can skip me if you want, but the one that I had that would make me feel real rich is to be able to put auto pay on all my bills. So I never have to even look at my account.
Listen, when I did the workshop like an hour and a half ago, that was something that we talked about. Like, it's right here, auto pay. And the reason why we talked about it is because, like, wouldn't that just create like just the freedom, right? To be like, hey, I don't even have to think about it. I don't have to, like Tommy said, check if it's there. I don't have to like wonder. I don't have to like double check, triple check, like whatever. Like it's just there, and like it gets drafted and replenished, and it's like easy street. I'm right there. Because you run the program, I'll throw it off to one more person. The next person in the chat was Dallas. Dallas, give me your thoughts.
The first thing I put down was to have a second car, because my husband and I only have one car and it's really difficult to try to juggle things around.
Good.
The second one was to get a better job once I graduate, and that way the main reason for the better job is so we can build up our savings even more.
Yeah.
And then the last one is to be able to actually take the vacation whenever we actually want to. My husband and I have been together for 8 years now. We've had one vacation, and that was for our 1-year wedding anniversary. So,
Yes.
And we both like to travel a lot. So.
And when you think about like taking that vacation, where you going?
Anywhere. Anywhere that isn't like, now we'll get away for like a weekend at like just a hotel in a big town next to us.
Sure.
Just cause, but just anywhere. Specifically, we want to try to start going out of country, but all things considering,
Very good. Yeah, for sure. It's a little bit of an interesting time, but things are coming back. Things are coming back for sure. So first off, you guys, Kelly, Brittany, Tommy, you're already going to be taken care of in Dallas. Be sure to give me your cash apps by the end of the day. Thank you guys for being the first 3 people willing to volunteer based off of the 5s in the chat. Here's the thing, guys, I want us to think about. Growing up, I want you to think about the things that made up your rich life. And like, one, to ask yourself, were there people or experiences that made me feel like that this rich life wasn't even possible? Like, did I always see my parents manually like write checks and pay bills? Did I always grow up in a family to where we didn't travel? It was just such a out of the ordinary thing that like it just wasn't the case. Like, did I see people like pay off their homes and retire? Like, if not, like, did that make you feel like it wasn't possible? Or on the flip side, like, were there any experiences or people that made you feel like your rich life was possible? You know, like these are real questions because, you know, sometimes it's hard to see ourselves doing something or accomplishing something if we've never seen it done before. And we're the first person in our family is to try to like climb that mountain, right? So I want you guys to start thinking about that. And all of these things play into our money mindset. See, the things that we hear growing up and the experiences that we have actually create a mindset around money that either serves us or it kind of sabotages us, right? And the reason that we often don't achieve what we desire or deserve out of life, it actually comes down to our mindset. And I really realized this whenever I was in college and I saw people who actually were terrible at school, to be honest, but they were just like great with their money and made tons of it. And then I saw other people who had like PhDs and like master's degrees. And like when it came to their financial picture, like they didn't, it just wasn't there. And I realized, wow, like there's not really a correlation or between how well you do in school and how well you handle your money. Contrary to like maybe popular belief. In fact, I know people who have not even gone to college and maybe have GEDs that are like one of my mentors. He's like a multimillionaire, you know? And so what I found is that it often comes down to our mindset and the way that we think about things. And this is why our mindset, not just around money, but around anything is important. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take a moment to show a video around money mindset. And then we're going to dive deeper into how we can transform our lives by transforming our minds. Okay. And so let me do that. Before we do that, though, I want you guys to remember this, that abundance is always around us. We do not create it, but we do create limitations, and those limitations will compromise our potential. This is a good quote to, like, I don't know, tattoo on your left arm, you know, back bicep, you know, on your cheeks, you know. And so this is something that I want you guys to write down and have in mind. Okay. I'm gonna be looking at you guys. Give me a thumbs up. I want to make sure that you guys can hear this. Welcome to phase 1 of Simple Money Academy. We're going to get things kicked off with mindset. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I came here to learn about investing, budgeting, credit, or business. Why are you teaching me about mindset? What does that have to do with money? Well, honestly, everything. The money mindsets we have control our behaviors. Most people think, once I have more money, I will have the right mindset. But that's backwards. It's kind of like saying, once I lose weight, I'm going to start exercising and eating right. Or once I make all A's, I'm going to begin studying. Having the right money mindset.
Hey, Michael, could you turn up the volume?
Sure. Give me 1 second. I'm glad that you mentioned something. Let me see. Can you tell me if this is louder? If you don't believe me, let's play a game. Okay, I'm gonna cool. Let me start over. I'm sorry. This is why I always ask. It's because I have to change the microphone from like this to like that. So here, I'll start it over just so that you guys get everything. Academy. We're gonna get things kicked off with mindset. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I came here to learn about investing, budgeting, credit, or business. Why are you teaching me about mindset? What does that have to do with money? Well, honestly, everything. The money mindsets we have control our behaviors. Most people think, once I have more money, I will have the right mindset. But that's backwards. It's kind of like saying, once I lose weight, I'm going to start exercising and eating right. Or once I make all A's, I'm going to begin studying. Having the right money mindset and behaviors should come before having more money. If you don't believe me, let's play a game. I'm going to show you 3 pictures. The first picture I will show you is Mike Tyson, who is famous for his boxing career. Mike Tyson earned $400 million while boxing. The second picture I'm going to show you is Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is famous for his acting roles in various movies and has earned over $150 million doing so. The final picture I'm going to show you is of 50 Cent, who is an American rapper and businessman who between 2007 and 2013 made over $200 million. Now, other than making a whole bunch of money, what do these individuals have in common? They all filed for bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is a legal process through which people or other entities who cannot repay debts to creditors may seek relief in some or all of their debts, which means that even though all these men had all this money, they had tons of debt and they were overspending. You see, more money does not guarantee a better financial future. In fact, if you just Google lottery winners going broke, you'll find story after story of people who made millions in an instant, but then their life went down the drain. Was it because they didn't have enough money? Obviously not. It had everything to do with their mindset. So in this course, I'm going to teach you how to have the right mindset. There's an ancient text that says we are transformed by the renewing of our minds. So by teaching you about mindset, guess what? As you grow and your money grows, your life will get better, not worse. Let's explore further into your money mindset. All right, cool. So one of the things that we'll kind of talk through is, let's see here. Oops, sorry. So like I said, and let me make sure you guys can still hear me good. All set? All right, cool. So the mindset, like I said, that we have around money is often revealed by the way we speak to ourselves about money. And the money and the thoughts around money are called our money scripts. And these money scripts create behaviors and habits that produce results in our lives, good or bad. I want everybody to write the word scripts in the chat. Just drop the word scripts in the chat. And so here's the thing. I want us to explore some of the money scripts that we have. But you know what? I'm actually going to make it, let's have a little fun with this. Okay. So I'm actually going to drop a link here in the chat. And I want you guys to click the link and we're going to get things rocking and rolling in this way. Okay. So let's see. Do you guys see the link? Everybody sees the link. Very good. And so what we're going to do is we're going to walk through some of these money scripts. And then let me see. I'm going to give my other self the ability to screen share. Brittany, could you give me the other me, the ability to screen share, the backup me? Let's see if I can. Boom, shakalaka. All right, cool. Cool. So let's walk through this real quick. So, yeah, I want you guys to just answer your honest thoughts, your honest feelings. Cool. Going once, going twice. Perfect. So for many of you guys, it was strongly agree. There was a person who disagreed as well. Very interesting thought is that I worked. It's interesting because with many of you guys, like you guys are a little bit older. You know, so I was even talking to some of you guys, like you got kids, house, stuff like that already. It's really interesting because I just did this same workshop an hour and a half ago for like some college students who are like 18 and 19, and overwhelmingly it was disagree and strongly disagree. So it's so interesting how, as time progresses, how much that changes. Let's do the second one. Let's see. What about this one? Money is the root of all evil. What do y'all think about that? This one is always interesting. All right. So we got 11 votes there. Let 12 even. Ooh. 13. Oh, now we're getting spicy. Okay. Okay. You know what? Let's have a conversation. Let's talk a little bit. So I'm curious to know who would agree with that statement that money is the root of all evil. Kristen would agree. Kristen, could you give me your thoughts on that and why that was the case?
Yes, so I agree because there are a lot of celebrities that have tons of money and they think, oh, us regular people think money would make us so happy, but they end up getting used by their friends and it's just not the life that they thought it would be.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts you have on that? That is true. Any other thoughts?
I don't know. I just feel like when you have a lot of money, you can't trust people have true intentions when dealing with you. So I think it's not as good as we think it is.
Very interesting. For somebody who also agreed, I would love to get your thoughts. Okay, Katie. I see Katie says she also agreed as well. Katie, what are your thoughts?
Sorry about that. I just needed a second. With me, and I look at money as like money kind of permits so it basically boils down to the hoarding of wealth, where it's like it's egregious abuse of I guess you would call it almost human nature. I can't. I'm trying to formulate my thoughts right now, and my brain's going 6 billion miles at 6 billion miles an hour.
You're doing a great job. Keep going.
It's because it's like I look at it and I say that, you know, and I'm one of those who prescribes to the fact that money to a certain point, like the whole money doesn't buy happiness. It does to a certain point, but once you get past that point, then it just creates more and more, you know, nightmares. And it's like, how do you find that balance between what's necessary versus what's unnecessary? Because it's like when you are a glutton for wealth, a glutton for greed, it's like, how, why, what's the point behind it?
Very good. And so because of that, you would agree with the idea that money is evil. Money is the root of evil.
Yeah, because, and I also look at it and it boils down to another one, vanity. You know, humans, for the most part, we want to be better than others. And it's like, when does that cycle ever end?
Yeah. Very interesting thoughts. For somebody who agreed, or disagreed rather, and has a different perspective on money being evil, I would be interested to hear your thoughts as well. Somebody come off of mute. Anybody?
This is Kelly. I think with having money, you have the power over how you treat that money and whether or not you want to be corrupted by the money or whether or not you want to be able to be very, I can't think of the word at the moment, but give money to different organizations that need money, to homeless shelters, to veterans that are disabled, to any place that Boys and Girls Clubs, food banks, things like that, where they need donations. Yep. Your money doesn't have to sit there and make you evil. You can be the biggest blessing to so many people. Totally. Because you got fortunate and you were able to earn or make money, or if you were blessed to have it left to you. Yeah, the opportunities could be endless for good.
Yeah. And philanthropy, right? Like,
that's the word I was looking for.
Yep. It's okay. I figured, but I was gonna let us flow. No, that's true. You know, there aren't very many people who are like, you know, funding, you know, philanthropic water wells on just pure debt and credit cards. Like many times you actually have to have the money to like do those things. So that's very true. Thank you for your thoughts on that, Kelly. Anybody else?
I'm kind of right there in the same boat.
Yeah, what you think, Tommy?
So money is only the root of all evil if you allow it to be. Money can control you in both directions. And it's what, like Kelly was saying, it's what you do with the money and where you want to go with the money. You know, my spouse and I, we live comfortably the way we do. Yes, the things I mentioned earlier, I want, And I probably could use the money to get them, but I choose to place my money elsewhere and not allow it to control my life.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Here's given what many of you guys probably wrote and have said based off of the rich life you see yourselves, let me help you guys with a concept or a disposition about money in this regard, because this is one that always that's always, I mean, nearly split 50-50, right? So this is, I have sparkling water right here. It's called Waterloo. This is not sponsored by Waterloo, but I'm using it as an example. If it was said that everyone who drinks Waterloo is evil, how likely would you be to go to the grocery store to buy Waterloo? Not very likely, right? Because you don't see yourself as an evil person. Therefore, you wouldn't do something that makes you feel or what others perceive to be as evil. Here's what's interesting. If you have the mindset that money is the root of all evil, then what will happen is it's going to make it very, very difficult for you to actually pursue, attain, and maintain and steward money. Because by you having it, there's an internal discord that you have on is this going to change me? At what point is it too much? Is it going to corrupt me? Is it going to do something to me that I don't want done? Are people going to see me as different? And so what will happen is and it's not going to be like, hey, here's a check for $1,000. And you're like, no, I'm ripping it up. No, it doesn't work like that. The way that it oftentimes will work is maybe you find yourself in a job or in a position to where you may be overqualified for it, if we're being honest, but yet you're afraid to pursue greater or more because you feel like, oh, well, it's not all about the money. When it actually could not be just about the money, but it could be about you growing and expanding yourself as a person, being all who you're called to be. The way that I think about money is many times like a handgun, okay? If you have a handgun and it is used appropriately, it can protect you, it can keep you safe, it could do what it was intended to do. But if a handgun is in the wrong hands, then likely it can hurt them, the person, or it can hurt other people, and it can do more harm than good. Are either one of those things the handgun's fault? No, because a handgun in and of itself is pretty neutral, right? But the reality is that just like a handgun, money is a tool. And to see it as anything beyond a tool can get yourself in a certain bias that would influence your actions and behaviors. Okay. And so that's something that I want you guys to think about as well. If I think money is evil, will I try to get it? And if I won't try to get it, will I get my rich life? Once again, this is a little bit more philosophical, but I think that it can be helpful as well. Let's go to the next one. I'm really curious to get you guys' thoughts on this. It's impolite to talk about money. What do you guys think about that? Looks like we're all kind of on the same page there on strongly disagree. See if there's any other folks that think different. Cool. Let's go. And then there's a strongly agree. Very interesting. The person who's if you don't want to, if it would make you feel singled out, I would love to hear more about that. But if not, then we can, transition. But anybody, the person who said they strongly agree with that, is there something that you want to chime in with on that? Going once, going twice. No worries. Let's go to the next one. There will never be enough money.
For you or in the world?
It is vague on purpose.
Oh, I don't like that.
I know. That's sneaky, Michael. That's sneaky guy. I could tell you. I'll tell you what. And thank you, Christina, for voting in chat. I see you. You strongly agree with that. So the disposition of this question would be for the individual, right? Would be for the person. Like, there will never be enough money. You think there may not be enough money for you, ever be enough money for you. I think I'm gonna touch on this a little bit later. We'll go to one last question. Actually, not this one. Actually, I need to give me 1 second. There is one more, and actually, I'm gonna do that one via vote. I don't have voting capabilities on here because this is not my Zoom room. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna there is one more that I am interested in getting you guys' opinion on, and I just need to reset the results from the last one. So here we go. Last one that I'm interested in seeing you guys' thoughts on is money will give my life meaning. Money will give my life meaning. Very good. Very interesting. Very good. Let me ask you guys this. Oh, and there you go. A little bit of nuance in there. I'm curious to know, for the person who strongly agreed, if you want to come off of mute and share, please do. What made you strongly agree with it?
Oh, that's me, Ami.
Uh-huh.
I strongly agree that having money will give my life a meaning, because it will give me many alternatives to choose what I want, as Brittany said, and also to afford great education to myself and my siblings. Coming from Africa, yes, it will give a huge meaning to my life.
Isn't that interesting? I've found that to be common for people who are coming from other places and who can see money as a way. In fact, I used to work in a bank, and you would be amazed, not you in particular, because you're probably very familiar with this, but those who have never worked in banking before and maybe are not first generation American, you'd be amazed at how often people will work a job here and they'll just take money here and they'll just like wire it like overseas to help family and friends and stuff. And it's like the money that they make is giving their life meaning, because now they're sending it back to mom and back to dad or back to organization. Have you found that to be the case, Ami? Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. What this does, what these money scripts do, is that there's thoughts that we have in our head that maybe we hadn't thought about much, but it kind of shows us like how we view money, how we feel about money, how we see money, and ultimately what could come, what the behaviors that could come from that. So like, for instance, for somebody like Ami, who believes that money will give her life meaning, well, if that's the case, then like she will probably pursue money so that way she can make a bigger impact, which would make her feel more meaningful in life, right? Versus someone who doesn't feel like money will do much for their lives at all, and they're not really concerned about that. And this is not me saying that one is good or bad. This is not me making prescriptive statements, but more so like describing how different people think about money and how context ultimately matters. I'm curious to know from you guys, like, what did you guys think about this exercise? Were there any things that surprised you based off of what you saw and how other people voted? And if so, what was it?
So it wasn't so much that the answers that surprised me. It was right here at this last question. I never put perspective for different cultures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That kind of made me stop and think there for a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And even Ami said in the chat, this is why she studies very hard, is because education will open those closed doors. Christina, I saw you coming off of mute. Go ahead.
Yes, just like it was mentioned, but Ami's comment, I didn't take it into consideration. Like, you really start off thinking that, your background from where you come from, because I know about being broke and them little hug juices and like,
Yep.
but I feel like money's a double-edged sword. You're happy when you get it, and you can also be depressed when you have it. I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of like a weight, but I understand where she's coming from, definitely. So I was just shocked, and it's okay. That's why we learn from each other.
Totally. And here's something that I want you guys to write down if you're taking notes. Money only solves money problems. Money only solves money problems. I think that what happens is that people get money and they expect money to solve a problem for them that money cannot solve. It's synonymous with, or it's parallel to like maybe breaking your leg and putting a Band-Aid on your forehead. It's like, if you hurt your forehead, then that Band-Aid would be helpful, but like if you break your leg, the Band-Aid doesn't help anything. And I think that that's what happens oftentimes, is that people are experiencing certain internal issues. Like, for instance, if you have a bill that needs to be paid and you get a check in the mail unexpectedly for that bill, then it would be ludicrous for you to believe that money did not create some level of happiness for you, right? But if you get money in the mail, but you have maybe some internal like feelings of like insecurity, or you don't feel like you belong in certain places, or you don't feel like it's just like, okay, like those are two completely different issues and one won't solve the other. And I think that that's why what some of you guys are kind of getting to is like the idea of like, well, there are people who make money, but they're not happy. But the reality is that those two things aren't correlated unless that which would make them happy is directly correlated to money, because money only solves money problems. If this is clear, I know I might sound like a black Socrates right now, but like if this is like making some type of sense, like give me a thumbs up. Let me know that I'm not just like sounding like crazy. So yeah. So yeah, Molly said, I had a teacher in high school that used to say, if it's a problem that can be fixed with money, then it's not a problem, which is true if you have the money. And so, once again, starting to think about these conversations, because, this is one of 5 workshops that I do. I mean, of course I do workshops on like budgeting and how to invest in the stock market. And I could talk about all those things all day long, but like the big idea is if we don't kind of examine ourselves. Anybody ever been in a situation where it seemed like, man, every time I have money, it seems like it just kind of falls through my fingers? Like, how come every time I have money, it's like, wow, now there's an emergency. Or wow, now like your money, you got it in the checking and you're like, all right, cool, I'm gonna move it to savings. And then it stay there for about 3 days and then you got to move it back to checking. And then it's playing like hopscotch, skipping the jump back from like, I know I'm not the only person, right? Like it has experienced that. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with budgeting. Many times it's like, okay, like how are potentially the ways that I'm thinking about money creating these self-fulfilling prophecies that somewhat seem to sabotage me every time I seem to get ahead? And that's what this is all about. Okay. And so appreciate you guys for engaging in that. We walked through these. This is for whenever the internet acts wacky. So let's see. The money scripts that we have are reflective of our programming. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you guys one more video, and it's going to explain what programming is, how it happens, why it's important, and understanding how money mindsets influence our behaviors. And so let's jump right into it, and the volume should be better now. I want you to imagine that you're holding a computer keyboard. Maybe you found the keyboard in your garage, or maybe you found it in a junk drawer or a random closet.
Will you adjust your microphone again?
Yep, I was just about to ask. This computer keyboard that has keys. All right, so let me do. I want you to imagine that you're holding a computer keyboard. Maybe you found the keyboard in your garage, or maybe you found it in a junk drawer or a random closet. When you look at this computer keyboard, it has keys, and all of the keys are associated with letters, numbers, and symbols. As you pick up the keyboard, it slips out of your grasp, falls to the floor, and the keys disconnect. You begin to put the keys back, but you do so from memory. Once all the keys are fixed, you realize that you got them mostly right, but there are 2 letters you accidentally switched. Let's say the letters you accidentally switched were L and F. So, given the switch up, what would happen if you connected this keyboard back to a computer and began typing L's and F's? Well, no matter how hard, how soft, or how strategically you push the buttons on the keyboard, every time you push the L button, it would show up as an F on the screen. And every time you push the F button, it would show up as an L. This example helps to illustrate a principle. No matter how the keyboard looks on the outside, the inner programming shows. Guess what? Our mindsets as it relates to money, health, and life in general are just like computers. We all have an inner program, and that programming reveals itself inwardly through our thoughts and outwardly through our emotions and behaviors. From a young age, we are programmed to believe and accept certain truths that are based on what we are told, taught, and shown. Think about it. Growing up, we rely heavily on the knowledge and opinions of others to survive. Before you can feed yourself, provide for yourself, or even go to the bathroom on your own, you were told things about you by those who had an authoritative influence in your life. It may have been a parent, a grandparent, aunt, uncle, or sibling. Not only were you told things about yourself by other people, but you were told things about yourself by the media. Depending on what you saw on television or on the internet, from a young age, you might believe certain things about yourself, whether good or bad. And it often has an opinion on everything. The media has an opinion about Black people. The media has an opinion about white people. The media has an opinion about millennials. The media has an opinion about baby boomers. The media has an opinion on Christianity. The media has an opinion on Islam. The media has an opinion on Democrats. The media has an opinion about Republicans. So when you are too young to form conclusions on your own about yourself, you by default get programmed to believe the opinions that other people in the media say about you. These influences, in conjunction with our experiences, begin to mold who we are. It molds our personality. It molds our belief systems. It molds our behaviors. And ultimately, it becomes our programming. Now, if you're lucky, then you grew up surrounded by positive media, positive family and friends, and positive experiences. This would result in positive programming. That said, the majority of people are programmed by influences that are not positive. In fact, it is likely the complete opposite. Most people grow up experiencing the programming of doubt, insecurity, worry, anxiety, and negativity. Because they chose that? Of course not. It's simply the byproduct of unnoticed or unaddressed paradigms that are often passed down through generations. So, I have good news and bad news. I'll give the bad first. The bad news is that we don't have control over how we are programmed. However, the good news is that we can change our programming. And that's what this section of Simple Money is all about. How to change your programming about money. Your programming surrounding money is known as your money mindset. And when we define money mindset, it is the way you think about money and your resulting actions. The way I view personal finance is like this. Learning about credit, budgeting, and investing is kind of like learning how to type. But imagine learning how to type on a keyboard where all the keys were misplaced or the programming was wrong. You would have to fix the computer and then relearn everything. It is much better to ensure the programming is correct first because it will save you time, money, and energy. All right, guys. And so that gives you guys an idea about money and like programming. I'm curious to know, anybody here, by a show of hands, anybody here have an iPhone? Anybody here have an iPhone? Cool. So let's take you, Mary Beth, for example. Mary Beth, have you ever had a situation to where like your iPhone had like a system update, but like you hadn't updated it yet? And what typically happens with your phone when that happens?
I'm not the best person on this because I just converted over to the evil access with the iPhone, but it doesn't do what it's supposed to. Sometimes when you run that update right first, it jacks everything up too.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's all a Ponzi scheme by Apple, but we all just fall victim to it every couple of years. What about you, Tommy? I saw you raise your hand as well. What typically happens whenever you have an iPhone and there was the programming that was there before, but then you have to and you haven't updated it to the next software update?
Well, I might not be the best person to answer this question either. I'm a beta tester for Apple.
Oh.
So I always have the latest and greatest before it comes out. So yeah, but a lot of times using their beta software, just like you said, the programming, it's full of bugs and it creates havoc. And being a beta tester with programming the way it is, sometimes you lose your services, you lose your phone, you lose everything.
That's exactly right. And what I found too, and many people who have had iPhones for a while will tell you this, is that like whenever like a new iOS comes out, like the old operating system starts getting like glitchy. Like it starts getting like crazy, like your apps aren't working anymore and there are bugs. And the reality is that operating system was a good fit and was important for that period of time, but it really wasn't the operating system that you needed to continue with for the future in order for your iPhone to operate in the most optimal way possible. And the reality is that we all, when it comes to money, work similarly. We're all programmed in a way that is like by the media, by our parents, by experiences with certain beliefs about money. And it's important to evaluate and reprogram our thoughts so that those things in our past that may have been true don't hinder our future. When it comes to money scripts, it's important to realize that what may have been true or helpful at one point in time, similar to an operating system, in our lives may not actually be true at another point in time in our lives. And like I said, the same thing applies to our internal programming around money. I see a lot of folks in the chat talking about how they have their Androids, but hey, listen, iPhone is still bae, okay? iPhone is still bae, all right? So here are a couple of examples. Okay? So actually, can I get a volunteer to maybe somebody who hasn't volunteered yet or spoken much yet? Anybody willing to volunteer, come to the virtual stage? It won't be difficult. Okay. Oh, I saw yes pick, so I thought I was going to say yes, please. Okay, Kristen's willing to volunteer. Kristen, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Everybody welcome Crystal to the virtual stage. Welcome to the virtual stage, Kristen. Girl, you didn't even know that you were going to get like a full round of applause on Saturday, did you? Like, how does that feel?
I didn't, but I love it.
Yes, we loving it. We having a good time. I'm almost done. And so, Kristen, I have a question for you. I'm going to walk through a scenario, and then I just want to hear your honest thoughts, okay? So, let's see. Let's say that there is a child who grows up with a workaholic father, okay? And because of this, the father misses important events and even gets a divorce because work became too high of a priority. Like he wasn't engaged, the father wasn't engaged with his partner. Like it just didn't work out. And so then in this example, a child, when they're young and seeing this, develops the money script of money isn't everything. In fact, it's unimportant. Okay. While that may be true in the moment, how do you think that the script of money isn't everything, money is unimportant could affect them as an adult? What are some behaviors that programming and those could like create with that child?
So maybe since their dad works so much, maybe they'll start to work part-time jobs to not work as much. Mm-hmm. And maybe they might not, I'm not sure. Maybe they might not want as good of a job so that they can focus on their family.
Yes.
And give their children what they did get.
Yes. Most definitely. And then let's just say that was a great answer. I'm just going to flow off of your answer, Kristen. what happens? What may happen? Let's say they're working part-time jobs, or they're working jobs maybe they're overqualified for, right?
Yes.
And then they work those jobs, but because of that, maybe they aren't as financially well off as their father was. Then what could potentially happen with their children?
Maybe they. Ooh, I don't. That's a good question. Maybe their children won't be as well off as he was, or maybe they might go into this cycle as what his dad did, and maybe they'll work. It'll just repeat, and maybe the kids will work super hard and all the time so that they're financially stable for their families when they're older.
Yep. That's exactly right. And then it creates this like weird cycle, right? And it's like, well, Dallas just like said it's a never-ending cycle. Cool. I mean, look at that. We're on the same page. And so, like, isn't that interesting to where like a money moment can affect our behavior and ultimately like what we teach and impart into our children? Another thing that could also be the case is that when someone thinks money is unimportant, they don't check their budget very often. They don't open up their online banking. They're scared. They have like this anxiety around money and personal finance because they went through those money experiences, and thus that perpetuates some type of cyclic behavior with their children and generations as well. Kelly said there needs to be conversations about it while it's happening. Children need help understanding why their parents do what they do about money. And I could not agree with that more. I think that, and that's why we're having this conversation now, right? It's because y'all saw how I grew up, right? Like we weren't having these types of money conversations and like figuring out like, okay, where is this birthed out of? Like there were some money conversations that I heard to where it was just like, hey, education is the way. It doesn't matter how much you bring on in student loans, because when you get you a good job, then it'll be easy to pay it back. And we found out that in America, that may not necessarily really be the case all the time, right? And that like, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. And so I think that that's really important. Christina said her parents didn't have it with her. And you guys, and even Dallas, that's another part of it, being raised by a single mother, right? Because that's a whole different conversation when you talk about like going into survival mode and maybe doing things that aren't optimal, but they're functional. Okay. Very, very good. Very, very good. Everybody give Kristen a round of applause. Kristen, make sure you give me your cash app by the end of the time together today. So that way.
Thank you for giving me the platform to speak. Appreciate it.
Oh, you are more than welcome. Okay, cool. I have one more story, one more framework. And if somebody would like to volunteer, please put me in the chat. Awesome. Christina. Oh, Dallas beat you to the punch. Okay, Dallas. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Everybody, welcome Dallas to the virtual stage. Welcome to the virtual stage, Dallas. Dallas, did you know that I live in Dallas? That's where I am now.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah. Team. Okay, so here we go. Go Cowboys. All right.
It's exactly who I'm named after.
So, all right. So let's take this example, Dallas. A child grows up and asks their parent for a new pair of shoes or a game or a toy that they really want. And often their parents say things like, oh, we can't afford that, or money doesn't grow on trees. Therefore, the child develops this money script based off of this money moment that I'll never be able to afford what I really want in life. While that may be true at the time, how do you think that this money script could affect them as an adult, Dallas?
So for the longest, I'm 25 now. And up until from the time that I was 18 until about 22, that was my money scripts actually. Because like I said, my mom was a single mom raising me. So, I learned, by the time I was 10, I learned to not ask for anything. Wow. I would even duct tape the inside of my shoes so my mom wouldn't find out.
Wow.
And it definitely led to, in that time where that was my script, I, on a regular basis, worked anywhere from 12 to 18 hours or 12 to 16 hours of work, because I'd work either multiple part-time jobs all at once or for the last 3 years of that, last 2 years, sorry, I worked 2 full-time jobs, and I had an hour in between to get to work to the second job. And eventually I was able to pull myself out of that because it came down to I had money to get bills done, but my husband and I had just gotten married, and we were approaching our 2-year anniversary, and we were talking about divorce because we weren't spending any time together.
Wow.
Because he was raised the same way, had the same money script.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, someone who's got that, who grows up with that, and that becomes their money script in their adult age, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to stick with it and they're not going to have anything out of life.
Yep.
And their life's just going to revolve around work. They're not going to have family. They're not going to have anything. And if they do, it's not going to be a good one. Or eventually they're going to, pull their head out of, and realize that maybe this isn't actually true.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I love that. First off, thank you for sharing your story and for being transparent and vulnerable about that. That was very powerful. I'm gonna just take the liberty to have everybody do a second round of applause for Dallas.
No,
but in the spirit of being a phenomenal team player in that regard. And everything that you're saying is absolutely true. And like you said, you resonated with it. In addition to what she mentioned, there are many times where people will go into even credit card debt, right? You didn't get that Xbox when you're 8, and then you go off to college and somebody offers you a credit card in exchange for a free pizza. And now not only can you get the Xbox that you've always wanted, but now your friends can play with you. Now it's a social status thing. And it was all based off of this money moment, right? And so once again, all of these things, your mindset affects your behavior. If there's anything that I want you guys to take away from this, is that your mindset affects your behavior, and your behavior creates your habits that ultimately produce the results that you'll see in your life. And so a theme within these stories that I told were that there were moments around money that shaped the way these individuals thought about it, right? It was when the dad didn't show up to the baseball game, or when the parents got a divorce, or when the kid didn't get the Xbox, that these are moments that are created around money. And I know that there were some moments that I grew up with that I'll always remember that created the scripts that I had about money. And these money moments, like I said, create scripts about and statements about our money. And here's the thing that's interesting is that oftentimes wealthy people will create different scripts for their children than those who grew up like how I grew up, or maybe some of you guys grew up, create for their kids. Right? They're two completely different scripts. And it's just holy smokes, how is it that I'm working so hard and that this person, I don't think that they're that much smarter than me. And I don't think that they're that much, but it just seems like it's so much harder for me to get ahead. And it all oftentimes comes down to the way that we think about scripts. I have a friend of mine who grew up wealthy. His dad runs a company that's doing probably what? At its peak, probably close to $100 million. And I was talking to him over lunch, over breakfast. And he told me something interesting. He was like, yeah, it was really interesting. Whenever I was 16, my dad never taught me how to mow the lawn, but he did teach me how to trade stock options. And I was just like, huh. Isn't that interesting? My parents didn't know what a stock option was, but I knew how to edge a lawn, right? And not that there's anything wrong with either of those things, but it's just so interesting how the scripts and statements that we create that are given to us are often created by our parents. And so one of the affirmations that I'll teach you guys later is that even if something isn't your fault, it's your responsibility. But we'll dig deeper into that later. Kelly wanted to share a story. Kelly, everybody welcome Kelly to the virtual stage. Welcome to the virtual stage, Kelly.
Thank you. It kind of relates to both of the scenarios that you shared. My parents were married for 48 years until my father passed, and I'm the youngest of 4 kids. Sorry, my throat doesn't want to work.
It's okay.
And my mother was a nurse, but she stayed home with us kids until I went to kindergarten. So she always was there for us in that aspect, which put the burden for earning money on my father.
Yep.
So my dad would work multiple jobs. Some of them were as simple as a milkman. Some of them were on the road selling insurance.
Sure.
But as I said in the chat, it was a discussion. Dad has to go to work. He'll be home on such and such a day. And this is why we're doing that. And I was the youngest, so I was the receiver of all the hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
And that's just how it was.
Yeah.
My mother made us our favorite meal multiple times a week, which was a can of, I think it's called corned beef hash.
Yes. Yes.
And had the potatoes and everything. And then she would well in 4 eggs. And we would have that a couple times a week. And we thought, wow, she's constantly making us our favorite.
Yeah.
Little did we know it was the cheapest meal she could give us that gave us the protein we needed and filled our bellies.
Totally.
And we were much older then, and we didn't realize the sacrifices they were making. They were just providing what they could when they could.
Yeah.
And if somebody else got something first, like the new pair of shoes or a bike or whatever, my dad always told us, you get what you need when you need it. You don't just get it because you want it. So
Totally.
we always had to balance our wants and our needs.
Yeah.
And then my mother went back to work, and she worked the weekends, and she worked 7 to 3, and dad was there to cook for us and teach us how to cook and things like that. So we had our life skills being taught through the difficulty of not having enough money, that
Yeah.
both parents had to be out working back in the 70s.
Wow. Wow.
So-
That's powerful. The importance of conversation, because that's something that I do with my kids now, right? Like I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I teach them like, hey, this is what it means when daddy works. And like there have even been things who I've implemented, and I don't even talk about this during this workshop normally, but since we're all here, like there are times to where like my kids, for like their behavior, like we have these like little Monopoly money dollars, and like, oh, you were nice to your sister, or you did this, or you did that, and we'll give them little dollars. And then like I have like a little candy bin inside of our pantry, and at the end of the day, they can buy candy with the dollars. And it actually starts getting them to think like, oh, like daddy, when daddy makes money, when daddy is working and he has a meeting, he is making money, and that money is providing for this, that, and the third. And so like, even if my 5-year-old came in here, I would sit them on my lap and say hi to everybody. Okay, go back to your mom. Like I don't shoo them away, because I don't want them to see me working in money as like dichotomous from me loving them and being there for them and being present. Right. So like, I think that it's really important. I just love what Kelly said, to start having those conversations so that way there's a meaning behind the actions that you're taking, and that the kids, now whenever I have meetings, my kids be like, yay, a meeting, you know what I mean? So it's just, it makes a difference. Great thoughts.
One last point about that is, there were 4 kids. 2 of the kids paid off their houses early. 2 of the kids filed bankruptcy.
I have thoughts on
family.
Okay. And that, have you guys ever heard the story of the twins and the parents, the twins and the alcoholic parents? So I see Dallas and Christina said, yeah. So like, but some of you guys haven't, so I'll share the story. There were 2 twins that grew up in the same household, and their parents were alcoholics. And one of the twins went off, and they became very, very successful, healthy marriage, family structure, like sober completely, like didn't have a drip of alcohol. And the other twin actually drank and had a lot of marital problems and like problems with their kids and stuff like that. And they asked one twin, hey, like they asked like the twin who was a drunkard, like, hey, why did you turn out this way? And he said, well, it's because my parents were alcoholics. And then they asked the other twin, why did you turn out that way? And he said, well, because my parents were alcoholics, right? And I think that it comes back to the same thing that Kelly is saying, right? To where it's like, oh, like we do have the faculty within ourselves to make certain decisions, right? And it's the same thing that kind of what I was talking about earlier when it came to like money. And it's just like, man, will money make me evil? No, not any more than having alcoholic parents will make you alcoholic. Like, it's going to be a choice either way, but the intentionality of thinking through your background and your money moments and how that's affecting your behavior is ultimately what's going to make the difference. Christina said in the chat, we all make our own decisions. Tommy said, I am living proof of that story. And so it's really, really cool to see how certain things that are in a way like, I don't know, stories or metaphors really begin to hit home the degree deep. And so here's what I want us to do is very rarely do people pause and consider how these moments affect their view of money. And Kelly kind of talked to us just a moment ago about, her corned beef hash story, and dad being a milkman and selling insurance on the road. But I kind of want us to go through an exercise here to where you think about a time when money really influenced a decision or a circumstance that hurt you or caused a level of emotional distress, right? And then the second step is to determine what money script was created in that moment. And what were the behaviors that followed? I'll give you guys a moment to kind of like ponder on that a little bit. And for some, it may be personal, and if someone really wants to share, you're more than welcome to. But what I want us to do is to just start thinking about it, right? So like I remember one money moment being like I remember cleaning up our garage, and I saw an envelope with my mom's name on it that had like Sally Mae on it, and it was like, "Oh, mom, like you still have student loans?" And I was in high school, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'll have those for the rest of my life." And I was like, "Yo, what?" Like, and that was a money moment that like made me that like started to change my view and picture of like debt and like where do I put my, and it's just like, okay, cool. But then you start getting into like, is there good debt? Is there bad debt? And but like, I know that was a money moment for me. I remember asking my mom when I was 9 years old, like, hey, are we poor? So it's just, those are real money moments. And some you guys may have experienced, some not, but I think that's important to consider. So here's the big thing though. If you found yourself with a faulty money mindset, what are the actual steps to changing it? Like, it's like, okay, Michael, you've told me about these money moments. I can see some of these money scripts that I had that weren't all that healthy, but like, toodaloo, like, what do I do next? Okay. Couple of things. First thing we're going to do is we're going to find like a money item that you maybe have been procrastinating on, but like matters to you. It may be paying off debt, it may be budgeting, it may be starting a business or whatever. And what happens is that is something in your life that you want to change. And so we're actually I want you to walk through these 12 change questions. And what I'm going to actually do as well is there is this PDF that has on the last page, these 12 change questions, and I'm gonna drop it in the chat. Cause y'all gotta love some handouts, right? Some digital handouts, right? For a workshop. So let's get into it. The first question, and this is, by the way, these are 12 change questions that no matter what you want to do, if you want to make more money, if you want to gain weight, if you want to lose weight, if you want to build muscle, if you want to have better relationships, if you want like these change questions, if you want something changed in your life, if you can get through these 12 change questions, then I promise you, like you'll be able to make it happen. All right. So step one, you need to figure out, how do you feel about taking action on this money item? So if it's paying off debt, for example, how do you feel about that? Are you intimidated? Are you apathetic? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Ask yourself, like, how do I actually feel about this? The second thing is, what additional information do you need? Maybe you want to invest in the stock market, but you don't know the first thing. Maybe you want to pay off debt, but you're like, do I do debt snowball? Do I do debt avalanche? Do I do maybe you don't know like your balances or your like what additional information do you need? And then What help or cooperation from others do you need? So if you have a spouse, like, or a partner, then it's like, do you need their support, like, in order for you to do this? Or is this just on you on your own, right? Do you need the support from your kids? Do you need the support from parents? 4, this is an interesting one. Would it take a life-altering event to inspire you to change? I think that there are some people who, let's take your health, for example. I was talking to my grandmother once, and like she started like keto, for like what was it, like 6 to 8 months ago, and she's like been sticking to it. I mean, she was like keto during like Thanksgiving, Christmas. I was like, yo, you're like really serious about this. She's like, yeah, it's because I went to the doctor and they told me that I was. They tried to tell me I was diabetic. I wouldn't even say that though, but like but she was just, but her mom, father, and then my grandfather's parents, her in-laws, like all like passed away with diabetes. And for her, she was just like, no. So like that doctor's appointment was a life-altering event that caused her to change. I'm curious to know, Tommy, since you dropped it in the chat, you said that in the chat that there was a life-altering event that inspired you to change. I would love to know more about that if you're willing to share it.
Yeah, so it's actually how I keep going forward, and able to do my day-to-day activities. Some of the folks in here already know. It took 2 trips to prison for my life-altering event. I was the twin, I guess you would say. We weren't twins, but I was the other sibling that took the route of alcoholism and drinking and really throwing things away. So yes, 2 trips to the penitentiary, and that altered everything.
Wow.
And it altered it for the good. So I can't say I'm financially independent, but yet the only debt that I currently have now is just a vehicle and a few credit cards.
There you go. And you know, I have another, if you don't mind me asking, I have another nuanced question to that, Tommy, if it
Go
would
ahead.
be okay to ask. Do you think that if you could talk to Tommy back then, based off of where you were, do you think that it would have had to have taken a life-altering event, or was there anything that you could have told yourself or like done that would have made it to where it didn't have to be that way?
No, nothing would have changed. I consider myself a 3rd-generation alcoholic.
Yeah.
So that's what grandfather did. That's what father did. That's what I did.
Yeah.
That's all I knew.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm very proud of you. The chat is blowing up. They're all proud. Everybody give Tommy a round of applause, because the reality is that many people go through those life-altering events and don't change, but you've changed for the better. And I think that it's going to create generational change for you and your family for millennia to come, right? Centuries to come. And so very, very proud of you, Tommy. And that's a reality, is that for some people, it will take a life-altering event that inspires them to change. And then the 5th thing is that, are you willing to put in the time and effort to change? No matter what you want to do, it's going to take time, effort, energy, sacrifice. Are you willing to do it? Do you know what those things are? What is the effort and the time it would take? 6, how much money is this change going to cost you? You know, for some people, it's not much. For other people, if you're having a life-altering, changing surgery, then it's going to cost some money, right? So like, that's important. Is it really worth it to make the change? If so, why? 8, who would support you in making a change? 9, who would hate on you? Kidding. Kind of, not really. Who would discourage you from making this change? Because you got to know, like, whenever, like, it's like the environment theory, to where if you put a healthy acorn in a flower pot, it'll never grow into an oak tree, not because it wasn't healthy, but because its environment wouldn't allow for it to grow. Like, and so that's, you got to start having those conversations, like, with yourself. Like, okay, are these the friends and are these the people that are going to get me to where I want to get to? Or are they just as complacent in what they're doing as I am? 10, what are the pros and cons of making this change? 11, what's the worst case scenario if you don't change? And then 12, can you live with the worst case scenario? Because the reality is that if it would take a life-altering event for you to change, and you know the worst case scenario and you willing to live with the worst case scenario, then it's going to be really hard for you to change, right? But if you can work through these change questions and figure out, okay, where are my gaps with these questions, then it's ultimately going to help you get to your goals. The last thing we'll cover, though, is these money mindset affirmations. These are 12 affirmations that I want you guys to make sure you screenshot, write them on your mirror or whatever. This is the last thing we're covering today. And here it is. Number one, my worth is in who I am, not in what I do. Number two, there's nothing special that others have that I don't have. Number three, I am the solution to other people's problems. Number four, it may not be my fault, but it's my responsibility. Tommy, you being your father and your grandfather being alcoholics, that was not your fault. But you took it upon yourself to take responsibility to say, hey, I'm going to make a change to make sure that that's not perpetuated. 5, the money I have represents my service to others. What I found is that the more people you serve, the more money you make. Number 6, making money does not have to be a struggle. It was so interesting to me that as I was growing up, the people who worked 2 or 3 jobs were never the people who were the richest. Isn't that interesting? It's just like, oh yeah, they work 2 jobs, 3, and that's not to like poo-poo on that at all, because in some cases, like that's people doing what they have to do to get the job done, right? But sometimes it can create a mindset of like working hard is the same thing as working smart, and that's not always the case. And so making money does not have to be a struggle, and it's not important. It's not important to perpetuate struggle in order to get to where we want to be. Doors open when I walk in my divine purpose. I personally believe that everybody has a purpose. What I found is that when people don't know their purpose in life, then they make very, very bad decisions, and like there's no win in feeling like you are on life as a purposeless human being. Like that does nobody any good, right? And so I believe that everybody has a purpose. I believe that everybody has a calling or a problem in the world that they're meant to solve. And I think that whenever you pursue that doors open when that happens. 8, money is a tool to buy freedom. Money is not freedom, but it is a tool to buy freedom. It's a tool to buy options. It's a tool to buy opportunities. 9, my constraints make me creative. This is something that's really important when you grew up like the way I grew up, because people think, man, I didn't grow up with a parents who had this. I didn't grow up in an environment that had that. I didn't grow up on these side of the railroad tracks. But what I found is that it is typically when people are experiencing constraints that they come up with creative solutions to solve people's problems in a way that other people maybe overlooked or wouldn't have thought of, because they actually had the privilege. But because you didn't have the privilege and you have certain constraints, now you're able to be more creative with the solutions you're able to provide. And then finally, or not finally, but number 10, abundance is all around me. I remove limiting beliefs. I think that's important, right? I think of money kind of like air. I think that it'd be really ridiculous to stand in a room and hold your breath because you don't want to take away the air from everybody else. Like that sounds kind of funny, right? Like you have somebody holding their breath. Man, why aren't you breathing? Well, like everybody else is in this room and I don't want to take away the air from everybody. It's just like, dude, air is so abundant here. Like I promise everybody can have some, plenty, more than they need. And money is the same way. You don't have to limit yourself and be like, oh, I don't want to make too much. I promise, like there's so much abundance around you. Just have to remove the limiting beliefs you have around it. 11, this is helpful. It's not what I make, but what I keep that matters. And then finally, the greatest investment I can make is in myself. And today you all made an investment with yourselves of hanging out with me for 90 minutes. It was a quick 90 minutes though. Like it didn't feel like it was long at all. I mean, we had a lot of great conversations and great dialogue. And so yeah, that you guys have the sheet to that in the chat. The last favor I'll ask for you guys is this. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat, and this link is a 3-question survey. It should take you, and one of the questions is your name. It should take you about 30 seconds to fill out. And this is going to be helpful for me, for Brittany, and for Carissa as well to, evaluate like what you guys thought of today's workshop, what you guys thought of today's content. And if you guys say good things, then it'll give me an opportunity to be like, hey, Brittany, let's do it. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's have some more fun. So what I want you guys to do is just be completely honest on, what you felt about everything, how everything landed with you. I could tell you this, I've had a great time with you guys. This is an EOC program, Brittany?
SSS.
SSS. Okay, cool. This you guys have been one of the most engaging. Yes, you can leave the cash out part blank. This has been one of the most engaging groups I've ever been a part of. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. And so I just appreciate you guys for making this workshop what it was. We had a very, very, very good time. And like I said, I'm just very grateful to be here. Brittany, did you have any thoughts on anything?
No, I think this was great. I did let the group know that we are investing in the money mindset or the simple money platform.
Yes.
And so once everything gets approved through the school side of things, we will be getting that, through. And, I think they're really going to like your other workshops as well.
Let me actually show you guys this. I know that there's probably a standard practice of like getting things approved, but I'm actually probably just going to
I did get it all approved. Basically, I'm just waiting for it to arrive to you.
Oh, cool. Perfect. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just go ahead and just drop it in the chat. This is no credit card required. I'm going to show you guys something really cool that me and Brittany have been working on for you guys that I think you'll really like. So actually, I'm going to share my screen over here. I'm going to show you guys Simple Money Academy. This is something that you all will have access to. So let me see. I'm going to open it up here. So here's something that's really cool is you'll see there's the millionaire mindset. This is basically what we went through, but now you can go even more in depth, and you'll see the same videos and the same content. But there are even more, right? About like, I showed you guys 2 videos today, but there is probably like 7 or 8 in here, right? A little bit more, talking about budgeting, credit, and even how to invest in the stock market. Some of you guys have been wondering about like stocks, bonds here, and I'm actually zooming a little bit. Some of you guys have been wondering about like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, IRAs. And whenever I do this stuff, like it's a lot of fun. So like I teach this stock market example. I make, the stocks cows, right? And then I have Beyonce goes vegan, does a press conference, but that gets caught, with Nicki Minaj in the drive-thru of a Wendy's, and I'm teaching something called dollar cost averaging, but like, like I said, we have a good time. We have a lot of fun. Guys, this is not a cheap platform by any means. And Brittany has decided to just sponsor all of you guys, right? And so click the link in the chat that's there now, so that way you guys have full access to that. That's everybody give Brittany a round of applause, right? For looking out for us and like being dope. Everybody's saying thank you, Brittany, in the chat. Guys, this is going to be information that changes your life. And so I appreciate you guys for like I said, being here, for giving your feedback. And that's all I have. Brittany, is this the last workshop of the day?
Yep.
Cool.
We're rounding it out with you. And I appreciate everyone for being here for National Trio Day. I'm so glad that we have a Trio alum to speak with us, a successful Trio alum. So, you guys can all be in these positions one day.
Yeah.
And I think taking all of the workshops that Michael can give us, are going to put us all in a better position.
Most definitely. Well, I would love to stay on with you, Brittany, and like kind of like talk deets on, last minute action items. So I guess at this point in time, everybody is dismissed, and
Yes.
I'll hopefully see you guys again soon.
Yes. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
you,
y'all. Thank
Michael.
y'all. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you for a great presentation.
You are more than welcome. You are more than welcome.
I have a question. Sorry, Michael, are you on LinkedIn? I would like to connect with you.
Yes, I am on LinkedIn. You just type in Michael Pittman, and I should be there. And Simple Money Academy, I think it should show up. I'm updating my